Hello, this is w-Jumbowokkels from the UK clan, and this is the first part of my Civilizations series. So, I took the liberty to pop down my settler where it spawned. To be clear, a settler is a unit that can transform into a level 1 city, and the first settler you get actually transforms into your capital. So, Tenochtitlan has been placed here. Let's just give my terrain a quick look. So it seems like I got 4 wheat, marble, sheep, and some elephants. So I would like to start with pottery, so that I can get the extra +1 food from every wheat. Now, for all the beginners that are watching this, you always want to start with a worker, and in general, you want to have a plan to work towards a wonder that suits your terrain. Let me explain what wonders are. Wonders are special buildings, and build them at the same time. However, only the player that finishes it first is actually gonna get the wonder, and the others bite the dust, basically. So once you go for a wonder, you're really kind of stuck to that path. So you want to make sure you got a wonder that you are likely to get. And in order to achieve this, you can actually adapt your tech. And another thing you have to keep in mind is that you can actually research mining, which allows you to chop down a forest, which gives you extra production in your city. Production is needed to construct buildings, and thus it's also needed to construct wonders. So on citizen management, you could actually leave this screen alone, but it's definitely better to lock the tiles with the most food, so that your city can grow quite big in a short time. The AI will do an okay job of putting your workers on the right tiles, but not always. So I think that's basically what has to be said. Normally, if you play with Bobs, you kind of need to be militaristic, but there is no need for that now. So every time I grow, I'm gonna select the right tile here. My goal would be to get the granary, perhaps a shrine. Shrine produces faith, and faith is needed to found a religion, which gives a couple of, I would almost call it side benefits, but there are also quite powerful benefits among those, so it's always worth taking a look at. So you will notice that when I select this ivory tile, with the elephant on it, it actually requires trapping to upgrade. So that means I will need the trapping technology before I can upgrade this tile. Now, elephants are a luxury resource, so they give a lot of happiness, but in general, luxury resources do not really give a lot of food bonus, so I tend to improve them later on. So now that I got my granary up, what did I say? Now that I will be able to build my granary, I'm actually gonna look at which wonder I'm gonna take. So a couple of good wonders are the Hanging Gardens, the Great Library, and the Stonehenge. These 3 would probably be the most contested wonders early game. In the following order, Great Library is the most contested, Hanging Gardens after that, and then the Stonehenge. Well, this doesn't really go for the eyes, but in multiplayer games, that's something you need to keep in mind. So these are the 3 wonders you want to rush for, and if you also have the DLC, you will have an added Temple of Artemis wonder here, and a Mausoleum of Halicarnassus. And the Temple of Artemis is actually quite highly competed for as well. So that's about that. Some other stuff. Theology is Hagia Sophia, which is really good for faith. You get the prophet, and you might be able to get the first religion. It's either the Stonehenge guy that gets it, or the Hagia Sophia guy. It's a little bit of luck. And then the civil service is very good to boost your food output, as it increases food from farms that are next to your river town. So you always start with the worker, and I think that's enough talking for now. Let's get down to business. So I'm going with the... I was planning to go with the Stonehenge at first, but it seemed like the Hanging Gardens is not the better option, but it's definitely a possibility now that I'm playing versus the AI. And if I can get it, my city is going to be so huge that I do not really have to worry about any good settling locations. Of course, I would want to expand my empire, but that really allows me to just take it slow, basically. So, you will often see that the AI really builds a lot of cities. That's not what you want to do. If you aim to go for a scientific victory, so that's simply a victory due to very advanced science, then you should opt for about 4 to maximum 6 cities if you've got really good settling locations. If you've got plans for a cultural victory, you should keep it at 3 or 4 cities. What else? Well, that's about it, I suppose. So, never build the monument this early. That's just a waste of production. The shrine can be nice, and I will actually take this shrine because this spawn allows for me to have good early game production. But often what you want to do is worker, growth building, and then either another worker or your wonder or another growth building or something like that. So I'm not a very militaristic player at all. This is something you will probably notice soon enough. You can be militaristic, but in general you should wait until about, well, at least a good half hour into the game before you start. A good game of Civ can actually take 2 hours or a lot longer. 2 hours is probably for a 1v1 one city challenge, which will be 1 city for each person in the game. That it's interesting for multiplayer, but in single player I prefer to do a standard game. So, building another worker here. Always try to scout your terrain. If you're looking for new settlement locations, it's a good idea to stay next to a river, scout for good positions to put your next city on. So, for the policies, you always want to go tradition, and then you can either go liberty, commerce, regionalism, or freedom. And the best thing to do is tradition, max it out, then put any residue points you get in either liberty or commerce, and then once you get renaissance area, you're gonna want to get these 2 upgrades. Once you get industrial area, you're gonna want to max out freedom, starting with the culture from each world wonder. Then you go back to regionalism to get the 2 extra tax, and then you can actually fill in all other trees. The piety tree does look kind of good, but in all reality it is not, because you're going to be behind on science if you take it. But feel free to experiment around with it. That's just playing for fun, of course. So, I'm actually going for a Hanging Gardens. I already mentioned that. So, here we have the special building of the Aztecs, the floating gardens, which replaces the watermill and really increases my growth. Which is a good building. That's basically one of the major, maybe the major reason to the Aztec. So it seems like I actually will struggle to find a Pantheon early on, thanks to the AI getting an unfair bonus, which really makes stuff difficult for me. Let's see, I'm gonna try and speed up the process of building this, or maybe I'm not, because there's no point. And that's about it, really.